Hi guys, and hopefully you could hear me. Welcome to the last chapter of the story that we have been reading, The Rise of Twilight Sparkle by Steve Bond. It is a sad and slice of life story, and we are in the chapter that is named The Birth of Spike. Now this is going to be another 21 or 22-minute long video, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying the last two videos that I have put out. And I wanted to say thank you. I know that I haven't been putting out videos as much as I should have, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say sorry anymore. I'm just gonna end up doing it. I'm gonna try my best to put out at least 3 videos a day. And now that's really not that much. But in the following weeks, in the following days, and the following months, I will be uploading regularly for you guys. And if I don't manage to put out 3 videos, if I don't manage to put out more than 2, then by God, I will upload the third video tomorrow. When I come home from work, I will end up recording more. End up recording the videos. Hopefully, I'll record them one after the other. If they don't make me feel weird or anything, then I'll continue recording. I just don't want to slur my words for you guys like I did in the second video. That was a disaster. And without any other things, let's continue with the last chapter. The birth of Spike. It was the next day after the breakdown. The princess was feeling much better, but was still worried about Nightmare's return. But then again, Twilight had assured her that she would succeed at any cost, which had been proven correctly, due to her resistance against the accelerated training, which showed down gradually. Twilight was a little excited today because her foul sitter was coming to visit her in the castle. Both she and Celestia were in the throne room. I am so happy to be seeing Cadence today. I miss her so much, she said happily as she held her Smarty Pants doll. I'm sure you have a, I'm sure you have, my faithful student. Oh my God, this is why. Oh, Celestia replied. I do hope this makes up for everything I had to put you through. It more than does, princess. By the way, what kind of exam is it I'm preparing for? I'm afraid I can't tell you, but I can tell you that it will take practice and a Philly school auditorium. But why my school? There was no other place available, and it was decided by the examiner team with the principal's approval. Won't the other fillies pick on me and throw me off my concentration? Don't worry, Twilight. That will not be happening. Princess Celestia placed her hoof on Twilight's shoulder. It will only be just you, your parents, myself, and principal and the examination team. Twilight picked up. That's weird. Twilight picked up a bit of a smile again. Okay. Just then, the doors to the throne room were open, and in came Cadence and 2 guards who escorted her. Twilight! Twilight! Cadence called, whistled. She trotted towards her. Cadence! She replied as she hugged before during their chant. Sunshine, sunshine, ladybug awake. Clap your hooves and do a little shake. Celestia smiled at the cuteness she was seeing. I miss you so much, Twilight. Me too, Cadence. It was very hard, but it's been worth it. And Princess Celestia, I am honored to see you. Cadence bowed at the princess in respect. Thank you, Cadence. The princess replied, I heard so much about you and your fowl sitting. You have a wonderful gift. Why, thank you, your highness. Soon, Cadence took Twilight out of the castle and spent quality time they've missed for a few years by traveling around Counterlaw and being seen her, and even seeing her parents with open arms and happy tears, which the purple filly had missed so much. She knocked on her parents' front door and her mother opened it. Twilight, my dear, her mother explained. Mother! Twilight replied as she jumped up into her mom's hooves for a tight hug. I missed you so I missed you for so many years, Twilight. I miss you too, Mom. Twilight, I missed you, my little girl. Her dad said as he hugged her. Twilight, I missed you, my little girl. Her dad said as he hugged her. I missed you too, Dad, she replied. They shared a few tears together, having missed each other for over 2 years. Since then, the accelerated training period was over and her studying at the Philly school begun to improve once again. Even though she didn't have much in the way of friends now, ever since she was hoofed picked by Celestia. Unfortunately, the bad memories from the bullying to positive feeling her to positive possibly failing her exam were continuing to play in Twilight's mind, but only when she was asleep. She would try to hide it when she dreamed about it. However, one night in her bed beside the princess in the bedchambers, Twilight woke with a jolt. The only sound in her room were the cold breeze and on her own heavy breaths. The nightmare of those memories had returned once again, worse than ever. I mustn't fail, she whispered to herself as tears began streaming down her face. I mustn't fail her. I must. The sobs finally returned, her unable to talk as she held Smarty Pants close and wept openly. The very thought of failing the princess and her exam now took any control from her, and she blurred herself breathing beneath the blankets, and she buried herself beneath the blankets so that no pony else could hear her lonely suffering. She didn't even notice the noises or the hoof prints behind her. Twilight jumped when she felt a muzzle on the back of her head and turned around. Standing before her at her bedside was Princess Celestia herself, a look of concern on her face for the first time. My dear student, what's wrong? Is it the dream? She asked she asked gently. Twilight nodded with a hint of fear. Twilight, she said warmly, your nerves are getting the best of you. Every pony gets scared the night before their first and most important exam. She chuckled as she wiped her students' tears away, especially if they tried to calm themselves by eating an entire cake. She poked Twilight on the nose, and then the little filly giggled. Don't worry, I won't let any of it happen outside of the dream. Celestia put her hooves around her and held her tight. Twilight smiled and hugged her back until she fell asleep in her hooves. After checking her and kissing her goodnight, after tucking her in and kissing her goodnight, she looked out the window to the full moon, with the mark shone clearly in the sky, and whispered sadly, "Not again." The next morning arrived and Cadence woke up first with a smile on her face and walked over to Twilight, who was sleeping peacefully away. She gently stroked her mane, which caused her to wake up slightly. "Wake up, Twilight," Cadence whispered. Celestia whispered, "It's your big day today." Twilight woke up and sat herself in her bed, sat herself up in her bed, before rubbing her eyes and yawned. "Morning, Princess," she replied. "Is it time already?" "Yes, my student, but there needs to be preparations made before your exam. I advise you to ask for your parents to come along to give you extra support." "Okay, I'll do that right now." The princess then turned and left the bedchamber to make preparations for the day. With still twilight got herself alert and awake before she left the castle, and trotted back to her parents' home. When she arrived, she opened the parents' door and walked in to be greeted and hugs. "Hi, Mom. I have so much to tell you and Dad about," Twilight said. "Then come on in. We would like to hear about how much you've done," her mom replied. Twilight walked inside and her mom closed the door. She found her dad on the sofa, who saw her and went in for a hug. Shortly, the family got together by the sofa and just in time for lunch. Twilight began telling them about training and training she had to go through, but she assured them that despite the difficulties, it was all worth it for her upcoming exam today. "So, your exam is today?" her dad asked. "Yes, and it'll help me prove if I'm ready to be permanent a full and faithful student," Twilight replied. "Do you want us to come with you?" her mom asked. The princess advised I should so that I have a bit of comfort. "In that case, we'll be right with you. Thank you." And then had a group hug before they had their lunch and then made their way towards the village school where Celestia was waiting for them. "Mr. and Mrs. Sparkle," the princess greeted. "I am glad to finally meet the parents of your wonderful daughter." "And we are honored to meet you," Princess Twilight's mom replied. The parents then bowed in respect, and Twilight did so as well. "Come on in. The examiners have arrived in the auditorium and are ready to start," Celestia said. They then walked into the school, past the hallways, and into the auditorium at the far end. There were four unicorns with um clipboards and pens, and are ready to be seats. This made Twilight a little nervous, since she was still shy and hesitant about showing her magic. But she knew it had to be done, or she would fail her exam. "Good luck, Twilight. I know you can do it," Celestia encouraged. We are with you all the way," Twilight's mom added. Twilight moved forward to the stage, and there, one of the workers at the school brought in a small cart with an artistic design looking egg on a small pile of hay. She slightly gasped as she knew what that was. A dragon's egg? She asked the princess. Yes, Twilight. Your exam to pass is to use your magic to help make the dragon be born from out of its egg, Celestia explained. Twilight gulped as she looked for the examiners at the examiners before turning her attention to the egg. She began to light up her horn and try to do just about anything she could think of that would help the dragon be born. After a few minutes of, After a few minutes of not succeeding, she began to worry, and her parents didn't feel confident either. The parents be, the princess was beginning to feel disappointed and worried again when suddenly a huge bright light, an explosion, was heard from outside. The school was showered of ray of rainbow colors in a circle which legends say it was called a sonic rainbow. Twilight was so shocked that she let out a huge burst of magic at the egg. The egg then began to crack away until its place was now a baby dragon, which began shaking its tail. Every pony stood in surprise at what just happened. Even Celestia couldn't speak. The examiners then got back to writing their feedback, and they were very impressed. Twilight Sparkle. I never seen you use your magic with the amount of power and ability before, Celestia complimented. I I never thought I could do it, she replied. But somehow I did it, and a baby dragon has been born. Then from this day onwards, this baby dragon will be yours to look after. Twilight moved towards the baby dragon and smiled at it as her parents hugged her. We are so proud of you, Twilight, her dad said. Does this mean I've passed? She asked Celestia. The examiners nodded in agreement. You have passed with extraordinary results, the princess replied confidently. Woo-hoo! Twilight jumped into the air with excitement. But you must learn to control your newfound power and magic through further studying, Celestia added. And I think this baby dragon may have some interesting potential as your assistant someday. Twilight, I would like you to be my permanent student. I would be honored, Princess, she replied happily. We should go out and celebrate, Twilight's dad suggested. Yay! But by the way, Twilight, what are you gonna call the baby dragon since it's now yours to look after? Her mom asked. I think I'll call it Spike. Whisktails, the family. Spark finally left the school. The Spark family, the Sparkle family left the school with the baby dragon to Celestia. Celestia returned to her castle, and as she took her throne, she looked over the window. She looked over to the window frame art design and saw one of her sisters and herself rolling over the planet of Equestria. Soon, Celestia said, I will soon see you again, my sister. Sh- She then carried with her duties for the day as she felt confident that by the time the 1000th year arrived, Twilight would be ready to face Nightmare Moon's returns, and perhaps bring back Princess Luna for a long-awaited reunion. Of course, it would take a few obstacles to overcome. Uh, this such as Twilight moving to Ponyville and making friends with other ponies. After the celebration, Twilight then giving her own personal tower in Canterlot Castle for becoming Princess Celestia's personal and permanent student, and she could not have been happier. Plenty of room, her own bedtime, and complete Celestia, perfect for an air-spring scholar such as herself. However, it had it had a downside, such as being in a room far away from other ponies and willing to be her friends with others. For now, though, she had Spike, who will be her number one assistant someday. Her own tale is just beginning, but for this story, it ends here. The end. And thus, the follow-up story is now completed. Glad to have finally got this one done. And with that being said, that completes that completes this Rise of Twilight Sparkle. It is a pretty good story to tell you the truth. It is a prequel to how everything started and well, how Twilight became the student of Princess Celestia. It just might have showed you that the kind of chance and luck that you end up having in this world. If only could become the new students of a princess and then become an alicorn. That shows you the kind of potential somebody has. And through the power of friendship ends up going a long way. So guys, thank you for joining me in this amazing read. I really do enjoy reading stories to you guys, and I will be coming back for more stories very shortly. And until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this story, enjoyed the other stories, and please have a good night.